Welcome back, everybody. Coach Kemp from Give It a Try for another weekly athlete talk, week number 44, 2025. And if you look over my shoulder right over there, it's a very special week because it is New York City Marathon Week. We have a handful of athletes, coached athletes, that are ready to toe the start line next weekend. And it is looking to be like a phenomenal day. And everybody who is stepping up to that start line has put in some exceptional work, and we are just about done with all the pacing plans and pre-race talks. And now it's time to just let it be. Let the athletes have their week, unwind a little bit, taper a little bit more, make those smart decisions heading into race day, and be able to put all of their hard work out there so you can get that victory lap, that 26.2-mile victory lap out there. It's just a side note. As much as I talk about positive energy, positiveness out there, everybody's going to do great. It happens from time to time where the result we talk about or the result that for the work that you put in may not happen. But if that's the case, we'll talk about it after. But really, for everybody that went through this, there was so many PRs at all the different distances and so many things along the way on their journeys to their marathons, and not just New York City Marathon. I'm talking about the other marathons that the athletes did. Is that's really, it's okay. The A goal for something, you may not hit the time you want, but just remember all those B and C goals along the way that made you that much better out there on race day. But with that being said, I am sure everybody is going to have an exceptional day out there, and I cannot wait to track and see how the day unfolds for everybody. What else do we have going on is bringing back some weekly community talks within the coaching app, and those are happening twice a month. We did a couple of them in the past, but I was just waiting to get through the bulk of the season, and it's just a very good time to start interacting with the athletes even more because they have a little bit more time, a little more flexibility, and we can start to work on some things outside of being in season. And this week's topic is going to be on goal setting, specifically for the off season. So if you're one of the coached athletes in the coaching app, make sure you jump in there and we get on that call tomorrow night, which it will be Monday. You're going to get a lot out of that. Bring a pen and paper because we're going to be jotting down and actually, it's one thing to think about a goal, something you say. It could be, I want to swim better or swim faster. I want to lose a few pounds before next race season. But if you just keep thinking about it and don't actually enact a plan and a roadmap to get there, it's just wishful thinking at that point. So bring your good attitude, your pen and paper, and we are gonna start smashing away at it with those coached athletes for the off season. Hopefully, I can release some fun, exciting news coming up this next week with the coached athletes, and I'll keep them on suspense with that one. But there's something working in the background, which is really awesome. And then with this goal setting and that approach is something that I've been working on, and just a touching on what we will talk about is process goals and outcome goals. We have all these different goals, and we want to talk about, yes, you got to put a goal out there. You have to see it, you have to visualize it, but then there are many other steps on the bottom of that roadmap that go to that goal on how you're going to get there. And those things need to be figured out. You can't just figure them out on the fly. You have to put things in place, and you have to be able to set yourself a roadmap for success in order to achieve these goals. And it could be multiple goals throughout that season. I have some goals that I'm working on right now, and I've already enacted the processes in place in order to get to those goals. This is comes along the lines of limiting your options and narrowing your focus. You want to just kind of put some of the other stuff away for now and then just narrow your focus on the path that you want to succeed for these goals. It's just a system of dials and switches where you're going to shut some switches off right now. You're going to turn some other switches on. And you're going to turn the dials up under those switches. And there'll be different intensities for those on how you're going to focus on certain things. And that's all training is. That's all this endurance world is. It's all this healthy lifestyle is literally a series of dials and switches that you're just at the command center. When you want to go into eating a little cleaner, lose a little bit of weight, you're going to shut off the switch for all the crappy food, turn on the good eating switch, turn up the dial a little bit more. Or if you start to fall off the bandwagon, you really need to turn that dial up. Or if you want to work on some off-season limiters, you want to just get more efficient at running, you want to be a more efficient swimmer, you're going to have to inevitably, because you only have this finite amount of bandwidth, whether it's physical, mental, or just your life, where it's like a computer. You have a certain amount of memory in the computer before it overloads and slows down. So in order to open new programs and or dig deeper or more in-depth programs that take up more memory, you do have to shut some other things down for a little while. You do have to go in the background and kind of like and just shut those switches off and be able to get more of that memory so you can. And that's basically what we're going to talk about is what we have to do. Some things may have to go on hold in order to really focus in on certain things. And that's going to be the name of the game with that talk. And it's going to just go along the lines again. Some things I've wrote down for the past couple of weeks is just being, I've said it many times before, you just want to be consistently good as opposed to occasionally great. You could have these little bouts of awesome, working towards your goal, but it's when you are just consistently good for that process from start to finish until you reach that goal is how you're going to get there in a very efficient and disciplined manner. And after this marathon, a lot of athletes are just going to kind of be in the off season. There's just a lot of short course racing, local stuff, fun little races to finish the year. But when we talk about off season, what's good about it is we can loosely structure it a little bit more compared to in season. Because maybe your distances for events isn't that large, even though there are some people that are already starting to fill up some races in the early 2026 season. And we just want to build back to base, and we want to keep that base a little more than last year. We just want to stay a little bit ahead of that curve. And that's just going to be that step every year that we're just going to, what is the new normal? What is the new base every year as we go into a new build or new goals or new distances or a new sport, whatever it is. We just want to keep progressing forward in that sense. Side note of something I spoke with about to an athlete this past week is just think about this for a minute. We can go into a whole talk on this on its own, but think about this. You're a runner and we're following this 80-20 system of endurance. And, 80% of the time we have to keep things on the easier, moderate side. 20% of the time we're going up above, working at threshold, working at above threshold, working at these tempo runs, interval runs. We have to keep that balance, right? If you're somebody that is becoming very fatigued, maybe your body's getting beat up, maybe you have some things starting to flare up, we really have to zoom out and look at your intensity discipline on this. Because I will tell you, if you are that 80% doing that, even at the higher side all the time of what it says, say the pace range for that easy run called for 9:05 to 9:35, 9:40, and you're always pushing at that barrier there, 9:05, just so it sits in that bucket range on Training Peaks. But it is, a higher intensity load. And think about that workout after workout, week after week, month after month. You're always just pushing it to that limit, even if you're still falling into where you want to go, is the physical load specifically for running that's going to put on your body. Running in and of itself puts a more substantial load on your body, on your joints, on your tendons, on your ligaments. But pace is also a factor in that. So there's a percentage that you're putting force on your body as opposed to going a little bit slower for those workouts, that bulk of those workouts. So even by throttling back a little bit into the zone you're supposed to be in, right in the middle, exponentially saves you over weeks and months of that training cycle, wear and tear on your body, and you'll be able to feel a little bit better, less fatigue. And guess what? You're going to get the same fitness benefit out of it. Probably better because you're going to show up even more rested and feeling better, and that body isn't going to be breaking down as much when you have to go hit that other 20%, and you'll be able to perform better. So it's not just about the paces, the heart rates and things like that. Think about like physiologically what's going on in your body at those faster paces. So again, coach will be happy if you're doing the workout properly and the training program properly. I don't really care about individual workouts per se. That's why I do sometime testing and data collection throughout, because I just want to verify, yes, that some of these metrics are shifting in the right direction. So save those really, really intense efforts for those days. And when it calls for an easy run, when it calls for that easier moderate run or that rest period between two tempo parts, really fall into the range you need to be in with that. There's no need to beat your body up beyond what is called for in that workout. So just remember that. And that will help you specifically going into the off season, like really start to deploy the parachute on your runs a little bit, especially if you're not in a build for anything. Let the body just put some less load on that body. Let it just chill for a little while. Come back, let all the things happen, and then go into this off season. And then we'll talk about strength and all these other things, which will then help build you a more resilient body and structure for next year, because the slogan is that I'm using this year and telling people is, we want to train to run. We don't run to train, meaning there's so many other things we have to do to have the ability to run and run well and run faster, as opposed to using running as your one form of exercise to think that that's going to help you stay healthy. There has to be many other things in there. So that's how that motto comes along, where it's train to run, not run to train. So keep that in there for that. And else going forward here, 2026 is in the works. We're just looking to get past this marathon week right now, and then I could really deep dive for 8 weeks into getting all the things in place for 2026, is setting up the welcoming for the athletes that are returning and coming in for January and staying on board with the one-to-one coaching, things in the works for the podcast, the YouTube channel. A mailing list is getting set up for 2026 so I can get a lot of information out there to people that want to follow along and have some other opportunities out there for some things that might come up. Working on clinics for next year, group events, and just making that coaching app and that community that much more valuable for the athletes that are in there and those that want to come in for 2026. So exciting things are in the works. Exciting opportunities are in the works. If you are somebody who has been out there listening and is interested or wants to inquire about coaching, I don't necessarily promote the coaching side of things. Now is your time, though, to just have that conversation, is to email me. We'll have a consult. We'll talk about your goals, and we'll just see what kind of fit and how we can get you in on that community there and how it may help you. So with that being said, I just want to really tell everybody, especially those New York City athletes, just have a wonderful race. Enjoy every borough, enjoy every mile, enjoy every bridge you have to go over. This is what you trained for, this to have an awesome, magical day out there, and it's going to be truly something special for everybody, and I wish I could be out there running it with you. So with that being said, I will catch all those athletes on the other side. And for now, week 44 coming in, I just want everybody to stay safe, stay healthy, keep balance in life, 1 mile at a time. And I'll catch you all on the next one.